what has been most interesting recently is the latest developments with OpenAI.
You know, you can't be ousted without there being something, but...
Welcome back to Talking Candid. I'm Hayley Powell, the Director of SEO at Candid Sky, and it's been a while, hasn't it? What's everyone been up to?
It's been a long time, yeah. So we took a bit of a pause because obviously we've been very busy as a business, and then also I was off for a whole month getting married. For those of you who didn't know,
Casual.
For the audience listening. So that was a trip in America. Long story short, I got married in New York, had trip of a lifetime and a great honeymoon, and it's just good to be back.
Yeah, it looked absolutely amazing where you were.
Yeah, I tried to upload on Instagram stories as much as I could to not the detriment of my honeymoon, because it was kind of like we got back and then I was uploading the images and then everyone would be like messaging me like, oh, it looks amazing, like keep me posted and stuff. And I want the memories to look back on as well. So.
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it? It's funny, isn't it? Because social media, it's very much a great way to keep everyone updated without having to
definitely,
you know, message them all the time. But sometimes it does feel like you do become a slave to social media, that you have to continually churn out content.
It's tough. It's the same with LinkedIn, really. It's like, because I was off for a whole month, like I've come back and I've started posting and I was like, oh, I'm back, I've been away, blah, blah, blah. But like the engagement has been a lot lower than I'm used to. And I feel like the algorithm's just like chucked me out and said, you're no good anymore because I was off.
Blacklisted you.
I'm a bit gutted about that, to be honest.
You got to make friends with it again.
Yeah, I've got to, I'm trying my best.
Yeah, I need to post more. I go through bursts where I'll post and I'll be like, yeah, I can do this. And I'll just get so busy with work and I'll be like, oh, I can't post. But it is important, isn't it? Because it helps you to get yourself out there and connect with like-minded people, which I do really like about LinkedIn.
It does, yeah. I'm terrible at LinkedIn, to be honest. I need to post at all. But maybe 2024 is my year, you know? New Year's resolution. Yes. Post something on LinkedIn.
Sounds like a good start. Before we get carried away, I just want to introduce our head of paid media, Courtney. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. You guys are like, oh, there's been a break. I'm like, oh, big break for me because I've never been here before. But so I'm the head of paid media at Candid Sky and essentially run the PPC and the paid social accounts. And just kind of everything that involves, the strategy, the management, communicating with clients and just planning everything kind of in tandem with them across their, social and PPC. So it's kind of very fast moving sometimes. And lots goes into it, lots changing all the time. But love it. Yeah,
it's quite a busy period for you at the moment, isn't it? With Black Friday, which is something that I definitely want to delve into later.
Yes.
There's a lot going in the industry. Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow.
You know, it's weird because I thought it was last Friday because of the amount of like emails and Black Friday sales that are already on. It feels like it's just getting earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas, isn't it? It just kind of, the period extends. The more kind of commercialism that can be squeezed out of something, people will run with it.
For sure.
Black Friday is always the day before my birthday as well. So some of my friends who work in marketing, they're always like stressed around my birthday time.
Yeah. You're like trying to plan and they're like, I've not got time for your birthday, Hayley.
And I just dip out. I'm like, nope, I can't get involved with this. It's my birthday.
And then we've got Cyber Monday.
Yeah. Exciting. There's a lot going on in the industry at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there's been certainly a lot, and a lot that I've had to catch up with coming back from being a month off. It's like one of those things like you switch off, but you don't switch off completely. And you're always like, I love Twitter. I'm a big user of Twitter, so I like to see what's going on in the world. And it's quite a funny site sometimes, quite a toxic one as well. But what has been most interesting recently is the latest developments with OpenAI.
That's
and
been
what's
juicy.
been going on.
Yeah.
So, because we've already chatted about how AI is impacting the industry and how we use it and what our thoughts are. But what's been really interesting is like how the next evolution of OpenAI, the company, is. And it was announced that the co-founders were essentially ousted by the board. And it's crazy to me because obviously Sam, one of the co-founders, and there was another guy's name which I can't remember off the top of my head. He left as well. I think one of them was asked to stay, but they both went. And then he was posting on Twitter saying, like, I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything wrong. It was just all unexpected. I've loved my time there. And then loads of employees, I think over 700 out of the 747.
Yeah, it was like 90% of employees, 90%, wasn't it?
Like vowed to leave the company and join Microsoft if they didn't hire back Sam. And then Sam's also been hired by Microsoft to head up their AI development projects.
Yeah.
But it's weird because Microsoft is one of the like big shareholders of OpenAI, and it feels like they're adding like fuel to the fire.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, definitely.
So where is he working now?
He's back. So I think
Sam's back.
Yeah. I think the way it happened, I'm a very cynical person by nature. But I think the way it happened was that they obviously ousted him. For me, I'm kind of like, I'd love to know the exact reason why they ousted him, because I'm very much kind of a there's no smoke without fire sort of person. So obviously he's, a genius and done incredible things for them. But I'm kind of like, you can't be ousted without there being something, but who knows? Business, I guess, is business. But so I think he got ousted, didn't he? And then Microsoft hired him. And then I think they went into discussions. And as far as I understand it, they pretty much kind of got rid of most of the board who were part of ousting him.
Yeah.
And then now he's back again with a new board within like a 5-day turnaround or something insane.
It's actually crazy. And I think Elon Musk commented on Twitter saying like something must have gone on. Like it's quite, I think his opinion on AI is that it's very scary and it's evolving rapidly and it's like one of our biggest threats.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like there's a lot of conspiracy theories over like, was he heading towards like a really dystopian future where it was starting to like talk back or something, but who knows? No idea.
Yeah, I've heard some things that he kind of maybe like was ousted because they thought that what he was maybe going down a money route rather than sort of the original concept, because as I understand it, OpenAI as a company was actually set up as a non-profit.
Yeah.
And then they opened up a profit arm to fund the non-profit, but the non-profit was the board that makes the decisions. So overall, that rules any decisions made. The board has to make decisions based on what's safe for humanity, scarily, in relation to AI. So obviously whatever's gone down, they must have had some worry around where something was heading, but I guess we won't know.
No.
Which is kind of the,
it's
interesting thing.
It's interesting to see like the side of the fence that people sit on with all of these kind of issues that could kind of impact our lives. I mean, it's very much the same with environmental factors. There's people who are very much focused on getting the money and not too bothered about the consequences, or so it may seem.
Yeah.
And there's other people who are saying that the long-term impacts on society should be the priority. And it's the same with AI, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's very much, there's people who are scared of it, and rightly so, if it continues like evolving at the trajectory that it is.
Yeah.
And then also people who are more so worried about getting the bank rate, really, isn't it? It's just,
I think if it's something that has a mass impact on humanity, I think it always should be a non-for-profit. And to like the sole purpose of it is to benefit society, because it's like you've seen with in the US with medication, and there's a lot of people that can't afford healthcare, and that's to the detriment of their health and all of those things. And it's like with AI, if that develops further, and the money's really good because it is looking like a massive industry at the moment, it's like what's to say that a shareholder business person won't take it as far as they can push it to make as much money as possible, knowing the consequences of what they're doing, but not caring because it makes a load of money.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting that obviously it's great, I guess, for him. He must be a very well-liked person that it had that response, but also for me, there's a scary element to it that a lot can ride with just one person. And that, you know, one person being ousted can have such an intense backlash without really, you know, who's to say if what the employees knew of the reason why he was ousted, or maybe if they knew, would they think any differently? So I guess we might not know.
No. But if anyone does know, give us the tea.
Yeah, for sure.
We're so interested. Give me the juicy.
Yeah, it's hard to have opinions on stuff without having like all the information. Instead, it's just this kind of like scandalous story that's like, oh my gosh.
Speculative.
Yeah, there'll definitely be like a film made about it or something. Do you know what I mean?
Netflix will be all over that next week. So.
Documentary.
It's interesting to me because I put a post about this, but it really reminds me of like the whole Apple Steve Jobs situation, albeit this was like accelerated bringing Sam back as soon as possible. Because he was in arguments with John Sculley, who was the previous CEO of PepsiCo. So, you know, the argument was that he just, you know, he knows how to make carbonated sugar water, but he doesn't know computers. But you know, why did Steve hide him? I don't know. But he got ousted by the board, and then he started his own, you know, competition, which it's like Sam alluded that he was going on to something else and he was going to create something of his own, but obviously that was intercepted. But it all reminds me of that. And the thing is with founders of like really innovative businesses, especially when the employers have shares in the business, they're always going to stay loyal to him as long as he supports them and he's making the company grow, which he was doing. So it's very interesting, the parallels between it. But
yeah, definitely.
Another topic that I wanted to discuss is Prolific North Live, which is the event that Courtney and myself actually spoke at yesterday.
Yes, so we did.
How was your experience speaking in front of people?
It was good. I mean, I think for both of us, it was the first time kind of doing public speaking on that scale. And I think for me, my hesitancy with these things is always how scary it feels to kind of put yourself out there as being an authority in a space, because even though every day we come to work, we educate ourselves, we do as best as we can for our clients, it is scary to kind of put yourself up there for criticism. I think there's this innate human, you know, nature element whereby you think people are going to tear you down for some reason. Yeah, for sure. So it's scary to kind of be like, these are the things. My talk personally was on paid media strategy for 2024 and kind of what things to incorporate. And it's kind of scary to be telling people these are the things I think you should do for 2024 and expecting someone at the end to be like, I don't think I should do that. But everyone was, you know, lovely, obviously. People definitely aren't menaces. And it was a great experience. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think it's a really good kind of opportunity to do something when you're kind of scared, you know, a bit nervous to do it, but the feeling afterwards is really great. And it was a good learning experience. How did you find it?
I was definitely apprehensive beforehand because obviously you had your talk before and you did so well. And I was just like, oh, there was quite a big gap between when your talk was and my talk was. So it's just like torturing myself. But I think it went quite well. There were a few sound issues, but that was the first time that I've ever done any public speaking, and it was in front of so many people.
Yeah, there were a lot of people there.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, the thing is, my talk was very much similar to yours, where it was tips to elevate your SEO strategy in 2024. And again, there's that apprehension, isn't there? So I kind of took the route of there should be an agency and business split. So I'd give generalized advice rather than giving too much of specialist advice and then isolate a lot of your audience. So that's the route I went down. I could see that some faces, I could spot the agencies in the room basically, because they were looking at me like, right, we know this, what next? I'm like, well, it's not just for you guys. You know, you might take a few tips and tricks, but overall, after it, I felt just absolutely buzzing, because it's just such an adrenaline rush, isn't it? And yeah, it was nice. It's nice to do.
Yeah, I think it was good to see both of you up there and get like different perspectives, because we've spoke about this previously. Like when we've gone to conferences, a lot of the kind of presentations are quite samey. They're all about, you know, the latest trends, and there's not really much substance to like how you would build a paid campaign, or how you would build an SEO campaign, or what the essentials are. And there are some fantastic like presentations out there from others, and I think yesterday was, you know, absolutely amazing from everyone involved. Yeah. But it was really good to see you both up there and get your perspective, and you're a lot braver than I am for doing it, because I don't know if I would have been able to. So.
Yeah, I think we had to psych ourselves into it beforehand, because we definitely had that moment of a discussion where we'd obviously tested our presentations on people we knew, and they afterwards said to us, I still have no idea what you do. And we were like, but this is for people who are aware of what we do. So but there was definitely a moment where we were like, no, it's okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Luke said to me that he liked the pictures that I'd used. And I was like, oh, great. Well, what about the content?
I'll sell it for 20 minutes just on the pictures. Yeah. Sure thing.
But yeah, what did you think of the full day? Because obviously we went to quite a few talks. There were a few great ones, and there were a few that I wish I hadn't have gone to.
Okay, yeah, no, that's interesting. I didn't go to every single one, but I think it was really interesting, and it was a really good event because it was quite well structured. The audio issues were a little bit disappointing, obviously, because, you know, I feel like you could have prepped those things. But aside from that, like, I really enjoyed the Warburton chat because it was just so interesting to hear a legacy like brand, an old school brand, like come into the modern age of marketing and how they've applied themselves to this like kind of new world we're living in at the moment. And I absolutely love the adverts for like Samuel L. Jackson and all the previous ones they've done. So it was really cool to get that insight. And then it was also really good to see some like faces at ITV as well. So
yeah, I really enjoyed the Warburton chat as well. I think what was quite nice about that was when he said, obviously they have so many adverts with famous people in, and they obviously invest a lot of money into them. But he kind of said, he was asked, oh, well, what's the return on these ads when you invest so much money into them? And obviously he can't necessarily measure the exact correlation, but he said, you know, this is what we want to invest in it. We want to put it forward as a brand. And I think that's quite nice that there's a brand out there who are sort of running with creativity and putting their brand message out there, and not necessarily, you know, cutting the costs or not doing it because they can't directly tie it to revenue. Obviously, I appreciate businesses have to run to make money. But I thought that was quite a good point from him, because people really, it is such a talking point. We were talking about, you know, the Samuel L. Jackson ad this morning in the office, and the stories that he was telling about that. So I think that's quite, a fun way to approach advertising.
Yeah, no, I really think I really agree with you there, because brand is so important. It's not necessarily always about return on investment. It's about ensuring that people know who you are. And I mean, he even mentioned that Warburton's was the biggest selling product in Britain, which is amazing. I mean, it is everywhere, but I think investing in your brand will ensure that all of your other marketing efforts work more successfully, because you're building a reputation, you're building trust. But also, in order to do that, you have got to have a quality product, which is also what I enjoyed him talking about.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, and it is really cool, and I thought it was really interesting what he said about like not knowing necessarily the return on investment on the marketing spend, because I suppose, when it comes to retail and especially having, products in so many different stores, it's not something you can necessarily track. Like if someone sees the ad and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a loaf of Warburton's Toasty or some protein bagels, they're not going to know that I've seen the advert and bought something. And one of the interesting things he said, he was like, we've always invested in marketing, like in challenging times. And that's really helped their business like accelerate to the point it is today. You look at their two competitors, which are the biggest ones are Hovis and Kingsmill, he said. I don't really see anything from them. Or if I do see like an ad or anything, it's quite safe, it's quite traditional, which is fine because they have to, differentiate themselves from Warburton's, I guess. But it's so interesting where you've got a room full of analytical people who love data, and you've got this like old school guy saying, I don't mind spending like hundreds of thousands of pounds on an ad, and I don't really know if it's bringing a return, but what I do know is we're selling loaves and we're busier than ever.
Yeah. And I think we all agreed, like the toasty bread is iconic essentially. Do you know, like I couldn't tell you a Hovis or a Kingsmill specific loaf, but that ad in relation to the toasty loaf, afterwards we just all kept saying, oh gosh, I'd murder like, you know, some buttered toasty right now.
Yeah, it'd be so nice.
So it works, it really does. It does work.
Yeah. I think it's so important that marketing also entertains people. Like, you want to engage people. It's supposed to be fun. We've not come into this industry to just have like a black and white strategy. We want to engage them. We want to entertain them.
Definitely.
Add that element of fun to your marketing strategy because it's so important for your brand.
Yeah. And if you have a great ad, people are going to watch it either way. Like, I haven't seen the ad myself on TV, but I came into the office and I think I mentioned to Dan, Jonathan Warburton's going to Prolific North. And he's, have you seen the recent ad? And I've watched it and shown it to multiple people just through YouTube. Yeah. I've not even seen it on the TV, but it is that kind of word of mouth thing just from having such an iconic ad that people, it just spreads in that way. So
clever.
Yeah.
Speaking of ads, what does everyone think of the new John Lewis ad? Because usually it's a massive talking point, and I feel like this year it's not really been, I've not heard of it that much.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't.
You haven't seen it?
No. I've not seen one Christmas ad. I don't watch terrestrial typical TV, so I don't know what it's called, but so I haven't seen one Christmas ad. And I've usually what happens is in my family WhatsApp group, someone will say, oh, have you seen this ad? And I might go on YouTube to watch it, but I'm just not interested.
Go on, paint a picture for us with your words.
Well, to be honest, that's fair because I don't watch TV, but I do usually see them on YouTube. But there was like a couple of news articles talking about it, and it popped up on like my ad reel. But it's bizarre. Like, have you ever seen the film Little Shop of Horrors?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So
with the big plant.
Yes, the Venus flytrap.
Yeah. So the whole advert is based on a Venus flytrap.
Oh,
and this
cool.
This kid like opens like one of his presents, or he gets like a plant which is a Venus flytrap, and he feeds it, and throughout the year you see it like grow up and it gets like really aggressive and animated, and then at Christmas time it's absolutely humongous and they have to chuck it outside in the cold snow while they've got the tree, and then his whole family go outside and they like give him some presents and stuff, and then like he eats them up and spits them everywhere. But it's got this like really elaborate opera music to it.
Oh, so not like a classic someone doing a cover, because usually they have like a famous song, don't they? But someone kind of covers the song.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a European or German song. Don't quote me on that, but it's just an opera song. Like it's not like an English one, I don't think.
Oh, right.
But when I watched it, I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
But this is the beauty of it, is I've not seen it, but now I want to go and see it.
Yeah.
You know?
Same.
Like I do enjoy advertising. It's just I'm not exposed to it in traditional ways. Yeah. But I really, I love to go down a rabbit hole of being like, let me spend 15 minutes just watching all the Christmas ads this year on YouTube. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to watch it after this.
I think they had a position on the advertising where there was like every year they've done something like really emotional. And I think this year they tried to like mix it up with something a bit more humorous.
Yeah.
With some like nostalgic ties to the Little Shop of Horrors, because obviously everyone, you know, has watched that in their childhood. Well, assuming so. But it's interesting. I didn't really get it. I thought it was okay. But I think people generally every year expect some sort of emotional crying advert.
Yeah. I think maybe they just thought, let's do something a bit wacky and then people will talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that kind of hits with some people, misses with others.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that if they were better off not doing an ad this year. And I think if they'd not done an ad this year, it would have got more press and more social media coverage than the current ad. And I think with the breaks that you know, like games do, films do, companies do, I think it builds up some sort of like tension and hype towards like, well, what they're going to do next? Like, is there going to be one in 2024? And I think they would have been better, you know, not spending that money necessarily, because they would have got the press anyway, because it's like a massive talking point every single year. And I think they could have maybe just said something like, oh, well, we're not doing that this year because we're supporting people in the cost of living crisis. I think they probably would have got a lot more credit if they would have done that this year, in my opinion.
Hey, you should work in marketing.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if that idea was tabled, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder if they genuinely considered that, because I guess there is still, even in this day and age where I don't at all watch live TV, a lot of people still, you know, do. So I think probably it would have been, for them, maybe they thought it would have been more detrimental to football, that there was a lack of brand awareness there, because I think TV is still up there as, you know, kind of one of the main advertising streams. So yeah,
I agree.
Interesting.
And I think, you know, it was interesting listening to the ITV talk yesterday, because they still do have, you know, people tuning into I'm a Celebrity and live football, which is something that they're going to be investing in. So I think it's very clever that they release these shows at this time of year, because it keeps people coming back to the TV and exposed to advertisements on the lead up to Christmas.
Yeah.
It's always, when I think of like I'm a Celeb or like Christmas TV, I always think of, you know, like the Iceland adverts and the M&S food adverts, and it's just like constant exposure, isn't it? And it's all
I think
clever.
Sometimes I exist in a bubble whereby I think, you know, all of that stuff is dying off. But yesterday, that ITV talk and him showing the numbers of actually the revenue generated from just live TV.
Yeah.
It's so significant for them, especially in relation to their streaming platform. So actually, it's very naive, I guess, for me to presume that, you know, there's a mass shift, because there really isn't. I think especially in winter, people love to just sit and watch TV, just put the TV on, whatever's on, kind of engage with that. So yeah,
it's very much related to demographic as well, isn't it? Like my mum will religiously watch I'm a Celeb, and I don't watch it. I just watch Netflix, Disney Plus, all of the streaming platforms. But it is interesting, because then you see, like my nan will watch QVC. And I'll always get a QVC.
Oh my God, I forgot that existed. I remember my mum watching it and she was like, I really want that ring.
So I'll get something.
Well, there's only 20 left, so pick up the phone.
No. So I'll always get like a QVC gift or something that she's seen in the adverts in between watching QVC. So I'm like, oh, they're like the ideal consumers for TV advertising.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's definitely going to, in the future, and I think ITV made it clear that with the ITVX, which it's a streaming platform, right?
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to transition into like a subscription-based, well, it's all free, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess there's no subscription to it, but it's interesting anyway, because it's all going, it's like these companies are moving away from the TV. They're staying on it, but they're also have got like other channels that you can watch online.
Yeah, they're diversifying to stay relevant, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. It would be good to see how it develops over the coming years, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got quite an exciting 2024 for Candid Sky.
We do. It's gone very quick this year, and it's been an interesting year. How do you feel like things have gone? I suppose both of you, really.
Yeah, I think there's been significant growth in the SEO department, which is great. We've had some new hires and we've got some fantastic clients. I think what I'm most proud of is like the results that we've got. There's been algorithm after algorithm after algorithm. I'm bloody sick of it. But what is good is that we've continued to maintain and grow our client results and our visibility. We've also retained our clients, which is just, I think that's just such a big achievement. We've got a wide variety of clients. We're onboarding new clients, and it's just, I feel like it's just been such a proud, pivotal, should I say, year for like the SEO department. And the same for paid.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been a really, really good year. Lots of variety, change. I think probably to echo what you said, kind of feels as if we've had moments where there's been a lot happening, a lot changing, but then like you say, just maintaining performance and keeping consistent and sticking to strategies and what we do best has actually helped us settle even in times of change and volatility. So I think that's kind of the point where we've got to now, is that we've maybe had some fluctuations, but we've figured out how to navigate it through just doing what we do best, doing what we know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, there's a reassurance in us delivering those talks yesterday. It's that we wouldn't have got to where we are now without knowing what we need to do. So perhaps we're best placed to be given strategic advice.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I should, you know, consider that I am an authoritative voice.
Yeah, go us.
I think what's been interesting about 23 is like no one knew what to expect in terms of like, will the economy pick back up? Will interest rates go down? And obviously it's gone all over the place really in terms of like holding the interest rates and then companies cutting budgets. And it's mainly affected at, you know, I think the B2C industry where consumers are buying less materialistic things, which is fair enough because there's a lot of financial pressure on the UK at the moment. What I'm really grateful for is that we've not had to make any significant changes. We've not been impacted financially by the changes that this year has had.
No.
If more than anything, we've benefited from it because, you know, we work with a lot of B2B companies and we do have B2C clients, but the ones that we have worked with, we've done so well on performance on both the paid and the SEO campaigns that we haven't really had a client say, oh, we're getting our budget cut. And I just think we've done incredibly well, you know, to see what the agency landscape is like and has been this year, where there's been so many layoffs, and that's especially true with the tech industry. And we've just gone through it and we've done well, and we've got like even more exciting prospects for 24. So I'm really proud of everyone and the company for that. And we've done incredibly well working together.
Yeah, I'm so proud of us. We should be like, take a look back at everything that we've achieved over the past year.
Yeah.
It's just incredible, really.
Should we do like a Spotify throwback?
Oh yeah, like a Spotify Wrapped of the year.
Cue transition.
That would be so cool.
So 2024 is going to be an even bigger year for us. We've got new territories that we're expanding into. So we're going to be targeting Australia. We've already got some clients in Australia currently, and we just want to grow in that market because there's just so much opportunity and it's an exciting space to be in. And we're hoping to get a little holiday out of it, maybe. And also London, which is going to be an interesting learning curve for us because it is such a saturated market, but I want to get my toe in that pond.
Yeah,
that's the saying.
There's absolutely ponds in London, Hayley.
I'll wear sandals.
We've got clients in London, and we used to work with quite a lot of London companies who wanted to see something different because London agencies, you know, they're obviously very expensive because the talent there is more expensive, the rent's more expensive, and it's just obviously more bougie. It's the capital. So we work with companies in London who want something a bit different. And I think, you know, Manchester does things way better anyway, in my opinion. And so, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of, you know, expanding into that area. And I think more than anything, just doubling down on what we've currently got in London, but just doing more of it because some people want that like physical presence.
Yeah, they do. So It will be interesting. They'll have to come up north, won't they?
Australia should be fun.
Yeah, Australia will be really fun because there's such a skill gap there at the moment. I think they're throwing money at people who work in digital marketing. So I'm excited to see what value we can bring to businesses over there.
Yeah, and what reception we get as well, you know, just new ideas, throwing new ideas at them and see how they respond.
Yeah, take it. Come
on.
I just want to see a kangaroo.
That one's for free.
You just want to see a kangaroo.
Yeah, I just want to see a kangaroo. You know, I've seen this video where this going off topic here a little bit, but there was this guy in Australia, and he was out with his dogs at this lake, and this kangaroo was holding his dog.
Didn't he punch it?
Yeah, and he was like, "You hold my dog like that," and he'd come up to the kangaroo and he like punched it in the chin, and then the kangaroo let go of the dog and started scrapping with it.
Well, they say kangaroos are quite aggressive. I guess that's where the boxing thing comes from, doesn't it? Like kangaroos.
Yeah, they're jacked up, aren't they? Probably beefy, aren't they? I wouldn't like to get on the bad side.
The kangaroo looked like it was on steroids. Like its arms were just muscly as hell.
I love that he spoke to the kangaroo as though he knew English. Like, are you holding my dog? Please let go. You know,
like, hold my dog.
He doesn't know what you're saying.
It was so funny.
So Australia will be really fun. We're also going to have a few role changes within the company, which is something that we'll be announcing to the team later today. So that's exciting. And we're bringing on some new people as well. So very exciting time for Candid Sky, definitely.
Yeah, I think some of the most exciting aspects for me is that what we've done really well over the years is we've niched down into the market where others have broadened their services completely. And it's not to say that full service agencies are a bad thing, but it's a very difficult thing to maintain. You know, it's hard to maintain quality like at a restaurant when you have a giant menu, but if you have a smaller menu, you can be really intricate with the details of what you're doing and the processes. And one of the areas that we're sort of expanding into is PR. And it's going to be really interesting for us to like work a little bit more creatively. You know, we're a very strategic company that's focused on commercial results. And PR is a lot more based on like brand awareness. And of course, there are commercials that come with it, you know, but it gets companies in the news, it gets hype for certain product launches. So I'm really excited to explore that area of the business and see where we get with it.
Yeah, it'd be so much fun.
So tomorrow is Black Friday, although I've been hearing about it for the past 2 weeks because I thought it was last Friday.
I've been hearing about it for much longer.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I think what I wanted to ask for you, Courtney, especially is like how has Black Friday this year been, and like how much work has gone into it?
Yeah, I think the crazy thing about Black Friday is, I mean, I don't know the dates for definite, but it feels as though maybe just within the last decade, it's become something so different from what it originally started as. Because obviously in this country, it came over from the US and it was just the Friday. And then as time has evolved, we've incorporated Cyber Monday. And now, like you said, we're at the stage where, you know, 2 weeks of offers land in your inbox before you even get to Black Friday. And so I think the planning involved every year just gets earlier and earlier. You know, you start thinking about it in September at the latest, really, sometimes, because you, especially for big e-com companies, you have to plan, you know, in terms of your forecast, what the revenue is going to look like, how much of a discount you can afford to give, what products are your best sellers? Are you going to discount those? Are you not? And yeah, I've worked at places previously where I have managed multi e-com clients, and the planning that goes into it, you have to schedule everything, all your activity, you need all your creative. It's completely months and months in advance, giant spreadsheets, whereby everything is, you know, preloaded in and scheduled. It really is a mammoth task. And then you actually get to the day and it's a live event whereby you're adjusting budgets to make sure that you're not capping out. You're checking revenue. You're people can be switching things up, you know, something isn't selling. Oh, well, let's just do a different discount on this.
Chaos.
So yeah, it's a very chaotic time. Yeah, for sure.
What advice would you give to brands who are looking to like implement Black Friday campaigns?
I think I sound like a broken record because I say this to most things, but look at the data first. So what actually would work for your customers?
Yeah.
You know, can you even afford to do crazy discounts 2 weeks in advance? Most people probably can't. I think it's really hard, especially in current times, to actually gauge how well something like Black Friday will do, because people's budgets are so much tighter that they might be much more, you know, restricted. Whereas a couple of years ago, people might have gone for any offer that came their way and really splashed out. Actually, now it's probably best to err a little bit on the side of caution rather than presuming just putting discounts out there is going to get you the return. So I am quite traditional, I guess, in the Black Friday sense, that I quite like it when brands just do, you know, the Friday or the weekend, and people know to go to that brand. They don't discount a lot throughout the year, but they know to go to that brand on the day because they're going to get that discount, and then you're done. You've not got all the stress of like seeking out the best offers.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of like awareness campaigns that go into that, so that they ensure that the traffic goes to their website.
Exactly. It's a lot of sort of email list building and, you know, build your followers. There's a lot of engagement that you can get prior to Black Friday to make it a success, rather than sort of just inundating people with email offers and kind of throwing out discounts everywhere.
Thank you so much for joining us. And
we're finally back. Yeah, stay tuned for episode 6, I guess.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.